That's right. We're talking about dogs this morning, and if you have one, I'm sure you've got lots of stories telling all about their quirks and how they're just one of a kind. Well, we've got pet expert and certified dog and cat behavior consultant Steve Dale joining us this morning, along with a very furry friend to share why some of these breeds are just so unique. Introduce us. Who's your little friend there, Steve?
Well, good morning. How are you?
Doing great, thank you. Who is that?
This is Yazik. Yazik's a West Highland White Terrier, of course.
Well, now, and what are the most popular dog breeds out today? What are people going after?
Well, the most popular breed in America is the Labrador Retriever. It's been that way since 1999. So they are the top dog, the king of the hill, and they've been that way for a very long time. Number 2 on the list is the German Shepherd dog, followed by the Golden Retriever, the Beagle, and then the English Bulldog.
How do you find the right breed of dog for your family and your lifestyle? Where do you start?
Well, I'll tell you, that's an exceedingly important question. In part, it's choosing if you're getting a purebred dog, and you don't need to. Listen, there's nothing wrong with going to an animal shelter and saying, I'm going to rescue that dog. But be sure to ask the adoption counselor about what that dog is really like on a day-to-day basis. When you go into a shelter, you're getting a snapshot of that dog. So if that dog seems laid back, just like it could be that that dog's been out for a run for 5 miles right before you walked in, you know? So ask and talk with the adoption counselors and be honest about your lifestyle. Not this romantic notion, well, I get out there and run every day, when you really haven't done that in 3 years. So be honest about what your lifestyle is really like. If you're going to a breeder and want a purebred dog, that's great too. A hobby breeder, they're wonderful. And any breeder worth his or her salt is going to ask you a whole lot of questions about your lifestyle to ensure that you're the right person, the right family for that dog and that dog breed.
Well, absolutely. Like you said, I mean, if you're not a runner and then you get a dog like a greyhound or a lab that has to run every day, you're in for quite a surprise, aren't you?
Yeah, you know, but in truth, greyhounds, for example, what they need is a nice soft couch, a good glass of wine, and a roaring fire. They need a good run around the yard, maybe, but they don't necessarily, oh my goodness, I have another dog here, don't I? But they don't necessarily need a long run. You know, where a Weimaraner, for example, could use a very long run. This seems not to be a West Highland White Terrier. It seems to be a Labrador that suddenly appears. Labrador Retrievers, as I said, the most popular breed in America, one of the more adoptable dogs, and adaptable dogs, adaptable is the word I meant to use, in this country because they do so many things. And it's the way they were bred, what they were originally bred for, that gives them what they are today. It's the same case for West Highland White Terriers. So I'll talk about Labs for a second. Labs were originally bred to help fishermen way back in the day, believe it or not. In more modern times, as a sporting dog to help retrieve waterfowl, and they're still used for that purpose today, of course. So we have a dog that pays great focus to the camera crew and where the food is offset here, but great focus to its handler or its owner as well. And that turns out to be really important if you're hunting, but also really important today for a lot of the purposes that we've adapted these dogs for, including service dogs, assistance dogs, being guide dogs wonderfully, right, heroically, for the visually impaired. They're absolutely amazing family dogs. They're great dogs.
And Steve, what's the best way to care for these breeds?
In addition to that, well, right, thank you. I was just going to go there. You beat me to the punch. So we have breeds that are different from one another. We had a West Highland White Terrier on the set. Now we've got magically a Labrador Retriever on the set. They're obviously very different looking dogs, but it's much more than that. Their needs are different, including their nutritional needs are different as well. So for Labradors, who tend to generally inhale their food, they scarf it down just like that, like a vacuum cleaner does. this. You want some of this food?
Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Steve. It's important information, and I know that you've got such a great clan of little dogs over there, and why you should adopt the ones that you should adopt. We appreciate it. And coming up next,